I think the defensive MVP of the league this year, if you take MVP by its exact definition, would have to be Albert Hainsworth. There's talk of Aaron Campman and Jared Allen or Bob Sanders or, I don't know, all these different players talking about maybe winning defensive MVP this year. Well, if you look at what Tennessee has done the last 3 games without Hainsworth, you know how valuable he is to that team. I mean, the last 3 weeks they've been getting gashed, gutted. Just Denver, now Cincinnati, and Jacksonville. And before he got hurt, they were historically good. They had a chance to be one of the best defenses in the history of the game. So, there you go. And, this team has playoff aspirations. They need him back. They need him back right now. They're going to keep losing until they get him back. I mean, you can't put it all on him. The offense, they got the ball in the red zone like 3 times. I think they got it in the red zone like 5 times and can only put up 6 points, can't get into the end zone. What else can you say? That kind of just tells the whole story there. They're a power rushing team, and they try and get away from that, and that's when bad stuff happens. And, Cincy, they're better than their record indicates. They could play for Spoil Sports a couple times at the end of the season here. And, Chad Johnson, he's back. I've never been a huge Chad Johnson fan. He kind of annoys me. But, he's having fun out there. And if he wants to eat the fine from the NFL, that's his prerogative. So, yeah. And, yeah, that's about all I got to say about that. Except, Chad Johnson did explode for the first time in about 2 months. So, credit to him. And, Minnesota and New York, not a lot to say. I mean, defensively, the Giants really miss Matthias Kiwanuka. You can just tell. I mean, things were just completely different out there. They couldn't get a stop when they needed it. Chester Taylor ran, it was pretty embarrassing on that one touchdown run where, 6 guys, missed tackles. Embarrassing. The big play of Sidney Rice. I like Sidney Rice. I think he's a future star in this league. Hopefully playing with Andre Woodsworth, but that's probably not going to happen now. And, as for the Giants' offense, they obviously miss Brandon Jacobs and Derek Ward, but, games like that are going to happen. I mean, Eli had one very similar 2 years ago against Minnesota, but, it's just about him being a young QB that maybe he isn't that good. I mean, 3 of his picks were into double or triple coverage. So, that's a decision thing that you got to work on. He'll get better. I've always kind of liked Eli. I thought he could grow into a pretty good quarterback, and he teases you with these glimpses of being a great quarterback, and ultimately he hasn't harnessed it yet, so we'll see what direction he goes. And, New York needs to watch out now because 9-7 should get you in the playoffs. They need to win 2 more games, and the end of their schedule gets a little tough. And historically, the Giants have collapsed in the second half, so it's not going to be easy. I think they'll do it, though. I think they got the 5th seed. And, let's see, you got the Saints and the Panthers. I can't bring myself to really care too much about this game, but, Breeze lit it up. I'm glad to see him do well, because, he just seems like I don't actually know him. He just seems like the nicest guy you could ever meet. Bush looks like he's going to surpass his numbers from last year, so for what it's worth. And, I don't know if David Carr was a good quarterback once upon a time that was ruined by the Texans, but he's done in this league, and I don't think anyone can save him. Looking at the Panthers right now, they got some quarterback issues. I don't trust Delhomme, and he's old as it is. They're probably going to draft quarterback, but I don't know what's up with David Carr. I think once upon a time, maybe even in college, going all the way back there, he was good. But now he's just so terrified of getting sacked because he's so used to it from Houston. I think Houston ruined him, and it's a shame because I think he had talent. That pretty much puts Carolina out of it. They've got a tough schedule. They can't really rebound from all this, and they're just not that good of a team as we've, seen now. I think it's time to bring in Matt Moore for Carolina. Have a look at what Matt Moore can do. Maybe you don't need to draft a quarterback after all. But Vinny's not the answer. Carr is not the answer. Delhomme is old, so give it a shot. Buccaneers beat Washington, and Washington handing the ball to the other team. I mean, if you think about it, they really had, in effect, 7 turnovers. They 4 fumbles, all very early in the game. It's ball security issues for this team. I mean, Moss had that big fumble against Green Bay that was killer for them. They just secure the ball. You would think it would be the simplest thing in the game. And, Campbell had 2 clutch picks, looking like a bit of a choke out there. It's too early to say anything for real, but, a thought. And there was the 4th down play at the 3 that they couldn't convert, which was obviously killer later in the game. Campbell, he piles up these pretty stats at the end. And he's finding Chris Cooley, who should go to the Pro Bowl, but, throwing picks at the end of the game like that, what's it going to do? Did it against Dallas as well, I believe. So, I don't know about Campbell right now. I haven't been impressed with him this year. Some people seem to be, I'm not. And as for Tampa, they're playing conservatively well. Garcia got injured early, so Gradkowski came in. He didn't play well, but he led the team to a couple of field goals and 1 touchdown and was enough to win. I love this defense. It's fast. It makes plays. It gets the job done. Definitely one of the best defenses in the league. And I don't trust this Ernest Graham guy, so I don't know how far Tampa can get in the playoffs. But I think the division is theirs if they beat New Orleans this week, which I think they will. Maybe I'll waver on that a little bit. But that division should be there so long as they can put down New Orleans. And as for Washington, they can only afford to lose 1 more game, and they have a game against Dallas and the Giants and the Bears. So it's an uphill battle, and obviously you got the tragedy, which I'm going to touch on real quick here. Awful. I read about it Monday morning, and by the end of the day I was just thinking, he's going to be okay. He's out of the woods. And maybe that was wrong. Maybe I was just hoping for the best and stuff. But I woke up the morning and was just like, whoa. I mean, it just hit me. I've never had a sports death hit me quite like that. I remember Darren Williams and Damian Nash and Corey Lytle and all those players. But this one was just like, wow, because, they kept saying he's getting better, and just died. And it's awful, And I don't know what else to say, but he was just starting to get his life turned around, just starting to realize his potential on the field. He was a father, I think. Really, really unfortunate stuff. It's weird. Kind of puts everything into perspective, I don't know what else to say about that. A real tragedy. I can't remember any other tragedy in sports hitting me quite like this.